Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Fringe North podcast. My name is Caitlin Townsend. My pronouns are she and her, and I am the project coordinator for this year's festival. And I have with me today Natalie and Ryan. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Sure. Hi, I'm Nat. Nat Lalonde. Yeah, pronouns she, her as well.
I'm Ryan Demers, he, him.
It's so exciting to have you guys here today, or you both here today, and we're really excited to have your submission as part of the festival this year. Would you like to tell the audience a little bit about what it is that you're submitting to Fringe North this year?
Yes. Nat, do you want to go or do you want me to go?
It doesn't matter. Do you want me to start or you
Yeah,
start?
go for it. Go for
Okay,
it.
I'm gonna start. So this year, well, our submission is following two clowns, Mabel and Wade. They live in the year 3000, on a planet similar to Earth, or can be Earth, or it's really up to you where they live. But it's definitely in year 3000. And they join up on this virtual dating site, and then we follow the development of their relationship from then on, and it culminates into a crazy epic adventure in can I say it, Ryan?
Of course.
Okay, a crazy epic adventure to the moon. It's the first time that they offer, or the company Lunar Getaways offers, an all-inclusive honeymoon to the moon. And yeah,
So you meet the characters before they meet each other, and then they end up falling in love on a beautiful website called Fish Finder, of course. Um, you see them get to know each other, and then of course you find out that they are going to the moon. So you do join them on the moon, and then something happens that we won't we won't divulge now. Divulge, is that the word now? Divulger,
if you
on va pas dévoiler ça en ce moment, là, mais you will find out if you come and see.
yes.
um, yeah, no, but it's really fun to explore what would our Earth look like in year 3000. So air is bottled, food is printed, and water just doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
So for instance, the characters do visit a series of great canyons that could have once been the Great Lakes. So
Great
lots of dark,
Superior Canyon.
Great Superior Canyon. Um, lots of dark humor, of course, but framing the
But
hope.
it's clown. It's clown, right?
Exactly.
So it's dark, but it's clown, so it's okay.
Mhm.
And we develop a lot of love, and we send out a lot of love throughout the journey as well as Mabel and Wade, of course.
And what's been fun is this is a show that Nat and I have been working on. Nat and I work together. It's been a long time, so
Mhm.
we've worked a lot in the Sabre arts community, especially in French, but we've also worked in English. We both studied English theater, and that's how we met. But we studied clown with John Turner on Manitoulin Island at the Manitoulin Conservatory for Creation and Performance, and
Previously known as the Clown Farm.
previously known as the Clown Farm. And that's where we really hit it off. And 10 years ago, we wrote this show called Lune, moon in French. And we just never got a chance to have it take off. And then finally, we decided for a cabaret to develop a 7 minutes of this piece. And so it's really cool. Like the pandemic kind of allowed us to jump back into this show that we wrote 10 years ago that's even more relevant now.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it.
C'est bon. I'm really excited to hear about your piece, and it sounds really interesting. I'm wondering, because like you wrote it 10 years ago and then the pandemic kind of gave you the opportunity to jump back into it. Is there anything that has shifted in this iteration of it? And
Absolutely. So what we developed 10 years ago is actually the sequel to what we're presenting and what we developed the 7 minutes, and then what we're going to do for Fringe North. It's actually the prequel. So we're keeping the actual show when we're able to perform on stage and when we're able to
Yeah.
have an audience and have that time to develop that. So then now this has given us the opportunity to really dive into the characters, dive into their relationship, dive into what happens before that epic event that happens on the moon that sends them off into this other storyline that we developed 10 years ago. And so that's kind of how it got uh, started, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really exciting. So, would you say that like it's more of a in-depth look at the characters or just like looking at them from a different light sort of approach?
I
Um,
think more an in-depth look at the characters because you really I don't know. Like it's funny for us, I don't know that we would have gotten to know them this way had we not approached it this way. Because we've known the characters and stuff, but we've mainly known the characters together.
yes.
Mhm.
We had never taken or not taken the chance, but I don't know, we had never
Really
thought, I think, Nat, or discussed.
dove into it, just really, really dove like a deep dive into who who Mabel is on her own, who
Mhm.
Mabel is before she met Wade. Because when we look at clown relationships, it's often if you have a solo clown, then that's a solo clown. But when you have a duo or a trio, there's specific relationships and specific rules that you abide by when it comes to the type of pachinko clowning that we do. And so it was interesting because when you do have a duo, it's rare that you get to really know who your clown is before they become a Joey Auguste relationship, when they become a power character and a submissive character, because that's what we play with when it comes to relationship in a duo, especially in clown. And something else that I wanted to add that we got to really look into and develop during this process of we'll call it the prequel, or what Lune is before it becomes Lune, what it's going to be in the future. But it's really a look in depth at their world as well, right?
Mhm.
And like what their actual world would look like in the year 3000, because in the original plan, the original play, it starts on the moon, and so we didn't really get to know or develop or like really décortiquer là, comme
Yeah, yeah,
on,
go in depth into what
tear it
the
apart
catalyst of the event that happens on the moon
of their world.
that ends this show and starts the next, if you
That's
will,
it.
without blatantly telling you that the earth explodes.
Ryan.
What?
So how
His
do you
name.
approach
I'm sorry about
so,
that, Caitlin. What's up?
so how do you approach like the energy of the characters when you're in that different space apart? Because I know like especially with clowns, like you are like building off of each other. So what energy like of yourselves or of people that you've met do you draw into that as you're approaching these characters?
it's
Mm,
it's so hard
that's a
on
good one.
film because like you said, clown is all about interaction, eye contact, breathing, bringing people into your world. The lucky thing Natalie and I do have is Natalie lives alone, so we were able to quarantine together for a while, and follow the law. So it was we were still able to play together with that because I think that would have been an extra challenge that would have I don't even know if that would have been possible in that had we not ever been able to even get together to play
No,
like
absolutely not.
in
But I
person.
think, sorry, go ahead, finish your thought, my friend.
But my just to end that thought is that yes, it's very difficult to reach an audience with your eyes through a camera, but I
Mhm.
think that we really did like succeed, Nat, in translating some clown elements onto film. Like it's yeah.
Well, yeah, and I think for Mabel on her own, I'm just kind of really looking because I do live alone. I'm pulling from real personal experiences. Um, but it's also when it comes to her and when it comes to developing her without Wade, it's really in her stuff. Like she has a lot of stuff. a lot of junk. Well, what we would call junk now, treasures for Mabel in the year 3000. And so I think she finds that type of fake completedness. That's not a word.
I get you.
Complicity.
I get you.
But that fake complicity with her items and with her
Mhm.
stuff, because she, as a job and what she gets paid to do, is, since it's so bleak in their world at that time, is she gets paid to like give joy to people, and so she like creates all of these little things that she builds relationships with, and so it'll be interesting to, and that, and I just had this flash though, but it's interesting to see how that connectedness with her things translate into a real relationship with a human.
Mhm.
And it's just, yeah. Hmm.
Oh, that's super interesting. So you shared earlier that you have worked together over several years, and I'm wondering if having that like depth of knowledge of each other and as artists and how you practice, if that was helpful to then move into a transition of a COVID world and to be able to draw on all of that experience to shift together rather than trying to create something completely new.
Mm, mm-hmm.
100%.
Yeah,
Oh, am
yeah.
I muted? No, I'm not.
Nope.
No, 100%, because I don't know that I'd be able to trust another human the way I trust Nat when it comes to working like this.
Same.
And this type of work, just because it's so, I don't want to sound cliche by saying vulnerable, but it really is, especially in clown and in this world where you're attempting things online and filming, and like that just adds another layer of work and stress. Um, and I remember the first time Natalie and I worked together, we co-directed a show with kids, and one of our most awesome mentors in life at the time told us, "You shouldn't do this. You'll never work together again." And we were kind of in spite, like, nah,
It's gonna work.
this is gonna work,
Yeah.
and it just always has. There's of course there's moments of tension and stuff, but
Yes.
like never. I don't know. I don't know. I have this on my arm. It says love with a clown nose. Um, and so does Nat.
Oh,
So
that's
like
awesome.
it's
At the
I don't
end of
know.
the day, though, at the end of the day, it's our rule, it's our message, and especially as clowns, like it's what we want to put out into the world. It's what we put out every day, and especially with each other when it comes
Yeah.
to those intense moments where we don't necessarily agree on everything.
Mhm.
We work it out, and that's our roots, and that's what we go back
Yeah.
to.
That's
Well,
awesome.
and like when we a little funny anecdote side story is we became best friends. Nat stood in my wedding. And but what we didn't know is that our grandparents were good friends
Oh,
when they
that's
were
awesome.
younger. So
Hmm.
like my grandma worked with her grandma and my grandpa worked with her grandpa, and they traveled together and they knew
Hmm.
each other deeply. And it was just so interesting to make that discovery after years of working together and something just always clicking and working. And
Yeah.
then you
Hmm.
make that generational connection that you're
And
like,
then I meet
whoa,
his grandma, and she's like, Titumtquatwi. You're a little. What's your last name?
I know
Waingoy.
you.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Tribelle, that's absolutely beautiful to hear, and just like the depth of how far back it goes, and that, yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So in terms of like, do you work separately as well, or is all of your art together? So what makes it unique when you're able to come together compared to like working on your own?
What I think is super interesting is that, like, when we do work on our own projects and work on our own things and have our own contracts, you're feeding yourself, right? You're feeding yourself with the energies of others. You're having your own lessons and you're developing your own craft, and you're evolving and growing apart. So when we come back together, then we're bringing all of these new experiences together,
Hmm.
and we're kind of, I feel like when Ryan does a contract on his own, it's kind of like I'm working it too, because in some sense it translates into what I do, and so he's
Hmm.
feeding his experiences and his lessons into me, and I think
Exactly.
it goes vice versa, but
And it's
like
never
that's how
black
I
and
see
white
it.
because, like you said, if you're working on a project, I mean, we're not only colleagues, we're best friends. So like,
Yeah.
if I'm working on a project and it's exciting and I love it, which if I'm working on a project, let's be honest, it's I'm excited and I love it. So I'll not be able to talk to Nat about it, which in response she's not able to give her opinion or share her thoughts, you know what I mean, like, and
Yeah.
vice versa. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, we're just so both passionate about the same things that even if she's working on something that I'm not necessarily involved in any capacity, I know that at some point I'm gonna touch it. Like I'm gonna, we're either gonna talk about it or brainstorm, whatever,
Because
and
even in our 9 to 5, Ryan and I work together. So we
yeah,
work together in our 9 to 5 jobs. Um, we do contracts together sometimes where he's
yeah.
directing, I'm stage managing, or we're both writing together, or we're code, or like all of this stuff. And then we have our duo that's been in the making for 10, 15 years. You know what I mean? So it's like it's all just intertwined.
Oh, that's fantastic
Hmm.
and really enriching to have that support and yeah,
Mm,
it's wonderful to see. Uh,
I'm lucky.
Yeah.
so what are you hoping that festival goers will gain from attending your show this year?
Good question.
Hmm. Um, I secretly would like for them to gain a bit of like consciousness on the fact that we're killing this beautiful rock that we call home.
Or
Um,
their home. It doesn't have to be our home.
no, but that they take away and bring it to their like
Yeah.
existence a little,
Yeah.
and have a little bit of introspection. But mainly, I want to bring people joy. Like as much as it's a dark subject, or not dark subject. Well, yeah, I
Well,
guess,
it
right? Like
tackles
the
it
earth
tackles some
blows
of our
up.
realities, right?
Um,
Like
um,
there was a fire in the Gulf of Mexico. Like it
like the
just
Gulf
tackles
of
some of
Mexico
our
got fire. Like what? That's
yeah.
real life.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, but
Yeah,
I
a little
also
bit of
no, I want people
reflection.
to fall in love with Mabel and Wade and see themselves and see maybe their
Mhm.
family. Because we've also included a bunch of like I don't want to say inside jokes because I feel like well it's inside like for us French community jokes like making sure what's your last name, what's my last name, oh we're not
Mm,
same last name, okay mine's with an H, yours isn't, sweet, we're good, like because we come from small towns and I think Northern Ontario, no matter what culture, whether French, whichever culture, I think you still have that like are we
Yeah.
you may
related?
be parenting,
Are we related?
you may be cousins, you
Let's
know,
Mhm.
check. Let's check the the
the
tree.
family tree.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth in that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Hmm.
So no, I think I really just want people to fall in love with them because for us, we're having fun, and I don't know.
That's it.
Yeah.
And
I
it's like
think
it's also see each other in them, like you said, Ryan, and see how important it is. And I know I hate key words, but like climate change and environmental and
what
d'être
like
écolo, d'être écolo, to be
mm,
écolo. I don't know how to say that in English,
uh
but
green.
just be aware of our environment,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and to kind of try to look forward to 3,000 years, well, 2,000, 1,000 years from now, and seeing what we're doing and what's happening, but on a larger scale. And I know it's really difficult as individuals to kind of try to make a difference, right? When it comes to like, when everything is kind of dictated by big corporations and governments and stuff like that. But it's my way, and it's always been a passion of mine, to kind of look forward and seeing what may happen in order to maybe try to avoid it. And
Well,
then there's also like that whole love thing, that whole dating online thing. Being 40 and single in the north, it's not the best, it's
I
not
hear that.
awesome. And so the whole like the the hope of like of finding that one love online, and that it happens for them is just it's yeah, it's kind of a reflection of that. And so I'd like spectators to kind of take away maybe a little bit of themselves, I guess, in this show.
And it's so timely too, like everyone's kind of moved to online dating within the COVID environment. And I have some experience with that myself, so I definitely hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time. And for those watching, you can come to the festival August 19th to the 22nd. And yeah, come
Woo-hoo.
support Natalie and Ryan and watch their show.
Yay.
And thank you for your time. Merci, miigwech, and gracias. And we'll see you all again soon.
Merci. Thank you so
Merci
much.
beaucoup.
Thank you for watching our podcast. Merci, miigwech, gracias. If you like what we're doing, you can support Fringe North and the artists involved in this year's festival financially so that we can continue this work. Visit www.fringenorth.ca to find out more.